Hi, it's Jane and Will Fendon for Live, Love Lake Oswego.
In this video, we're going to share the 5 things we wish we would have known before we moved here with our family almost 20 years ago.
For almost 20 years, I've been a longtime realtor in Lake Oswego, and the number one thing I wish I would have understood better when we moved here was how lake access works.
The best way to have lake access is to buy a home on the lake, like these beautiful homes you see in back of us.
The next best way to get onto the lake, if you don't live in a waterfront home, is through a neighborhood boat easement. Now, they require deeded access. The way to find out if any home in Lake Oswego has access to a neighborhood boat easement is to go to the Lake Corporation website. They have a lookup feature there where you can put in the address of any home, and it'll tell you if that home has access to one of these neighborhood boat easements. Now, we made a whole video about every boat easement on Oswego Lake. If you want to learn more about it, we went into kind of an insane level of detail there. Check that out elsewhere on the channel. But generally speaking, the thing to understand is that these boat easements usually have a security gate of some kind. They're private. They have a limited number of boat slips. They usually have some racking for canoes and kayaks and stand-up paddle boards. Some of them have huge decks, some of them not. They all differ just a little bit, but it's important to understand that even if your home falls into the boundaries of a boat easement and you have deeded access, a home doesn't come with that automatically. You still have to join your neighborhood easement. There's a fee for that, and it's fairly nominal, and then there's ongoing fees if you want to remain a member of your neighborhood boat easement. And if you want to get a boat slip eventually, they all have waiting lists. So if you're making a buying decision for a home in this town based on boat easement access, it's really important to research that. We can help you find that information so that you know what your chances are of getting a boat slip if that's an absolute, paramount importance to you. You just want to go into it with your eyes open and make sure that you have a good idea of how the boat easement in your neighborhood that you're looking at works and how likely it is that a slip is going to come up anytime soon.
Now, one of my favorite ways to get on the lake when we were raising our twin boys here was to use the swim parks. There's 2 amazing swim parks on Oswego Lake. It's important to know that all students that go to Lake Oswego schools can go to both swim parks, and all residents in Lake Oswego can use the Lake Oswego swim park. The Lake Grove swim park, which is the larger of the 2, has some restrictions depending on where your home is located and whether you have access to that swim park or not.
The last way to get on the lake is through a public access point at Millennium Plaza Park that was recently created as a result of a rule change to Oswego Lake that allows more public access for non-motorized watercraft like kayaks, canoes, stand-up paddleboards, and swimmers to get onto the lake in Lakewood Bay. Before we continue, I just want to mention, if you'd ever like to have an exploratory conversation about buying or selling real estate in Lake Oswego, I'd love to talk to you. I've been a realtor in this town for almost 20 years, and I think at this point, we've seen just about everything. Yes. We've raised a family here. My wife and I are deeply involved in this community. We'll flash my number on the screen right now. You can call or text me there anytime. We get a lot of questions about what's happening in the local real estate market, and I'd love to talk to you.
The second thing I wish we would have known better before we moved here 20 years ago was Lake Oswego's proximity to so many amazing attractions right in Oregon. Take, for example, Mount Hood. You can go skiing and hiking there. The Columbia River Gorge with Hood River and all the beautiful Multnomah Falls, the amazing falls out there. Downtown Portland, all that has to offer. Wine country is absolutely amazing. And the coast with Cannon Beach and all those amazing beach towns. It's less than 2 hours from all those amazing attractions.
The third thing I wish we would have understood better has to do with the school boundaries for the public schools in Lake Oswego. For us, the quality of the public school system in Lake Oswego was one of the huge factors that influenced us to move here. The Lake Oswego district consistently ranks as one of the top school districts anywhere in the state of Oregon. But we didn't understand the local school boundaries as well as we do now. And I think it would have been really helpful to know how all of the neighborhood elementary schools on the north and south side of town eventually feed to one of two junior high schools on the north and south side. And then those two junior highs feed to two public high schools, Lake Oswego High School and Lake Ridge High School. We have a really clear understanding of it now from volunteering in those schools and coaching and doing lots of things over the years. But it would have been helpful almost 20 years ago to know that then.
The fourth thing I wish we would have known better before we moved here was how many public parks are in Lake Oswego. There are over 20 public parks.
It's crazy.
In this town. And when our guys were little, we were always on the hunt for a great place to let them run. Some of these parks have over 50 acres. So you really need to know that this is a great town for public parks.
The fifth thing I wish we would have understood better when we moved here almost 20 years ago, it has to do with commute time. Now, in selling real estate here for almost 20 years, we've run into people from all walks of life. And for some people, commute time actually is a factor. For example, if a person buys a home up in an area called the Skylands area and they have to commute out to Nike or to Intel, by the time you get down from the hills and make your way over to where you can access I-5 or the 217 freeway, that can add about 10 or 15 minutes to your commute time one way every day. So we don't have a lot of traffic in Lake Oswego compared to other large West Coast cities. But for some people, commute time is a factor. For other people, for example, if you need to fly a lot, you need to get out to Portland International Airport, you might choose to live somewhere on the south side of Lake Oswego, maybe way up in the Palisades or even Skylands, which I just mentioned, so that you can drop down to Highway 43, cut over to the 205 freeway and go out to the airport. It's kind of the back way rather than cutting through downtown Portland. Sometimes that's a big time saver on certain days. So it depends on the traffic flows, obviously, but commute time is something to take into consideration before you buy a home here.
Now we're going to give you one more bonus point, and that's about taxes.
Bonus! When we moved here almost 20 years ago, we bought a home in Lake Oswego that's in Clackamas County. But there are three counties that intersect in the Portland metropolitan area. It's Clackamas County, Multnomah County, and Washington County. And at one point, we seriously considered buying a home in Multnomah County. Now, today, we run into a lot of people in our real estate practice who are moving out of Multnomah County because they're very unhappy with how high taxes have gotten there. I feel like we got lucky in that we just happened to buy in Clackamas County. The taxes aren't cheap, but they're manageable and lower than Multnomah County. But that's something I would have liked to have understood much better when we moved here almost 20 years ago. Hey, thanks for watching Live, Love Lake Oswego. This is a real estate channel solely focused on all things Lake Oswego. If you'd ever like to have an exploratory conversation with me about buying or selling real estate here, I'd love to talk to you. We'll flash my number on the screen. You can call or text me there anytime. Or if you just want to see more content about this great place that we call home, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to check out our playlists on lake life and all of the neighborhood tours we've made about Lake Oswego's amazing neighborhoods.